Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Fort Chavez. It's great to be back here in Texas. Always great to be here in Texas. To, to General Richardson, Command Sergeant Major Och, to all of three corps and 1st Army Division West, to the veterans, Gold Star families, Army spouses, and kids who call this place home. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. It's an honor to stand with you today on historic ground to mark a moment 250 years in the making. Today, we celebrate the 200th birthday of the United States Army. 250 years ago, before there was a president, before there was a constitution, before we even called ourselves a nation, we had an army. Formed on June 14th, 1775, by ordinary people in extraordinary times to fight for liberty and defend a dream that was not just a beginning, only just a beginning. And from that day to this, the Army has stood strong, guarding freedom, defending the Constitution, protecting the American people from Bunker Hill to Baghdad, Normandy, Kandahar, from delivering aid in natural disasters to defending allies in far-off lands. Soldiers have always stood ready. And here at Fort Chavez, that legacy lives on. This installation has trained and deployed heroes for every major conflict of the last century. It's home to some of the finest warfighters in the world. You serve with honor, you serve with grit, and you serve with purpose. And I want to say something about the name Fort Chavez. Renamed to honor Richard Chavez, the first Hispanic four-star general in our Army's history. A combat veteran of Korea and Vietnam, a leader who inspired generations, and a reminder that our Army is made strong by its diversity, by its unity, by its people. Because the story of the Army is the story of America. It's the story of kids from places like Killeen and DeSoto, Chicago, and the Appalachia, who raise their hand and say, "Send me." You know, one of the greatest stories that I really admire, and it deals with back home. One of our city councilmen, or city councilwoman, may I say, is a Army veteran. She served in a couple of conflicts, and every time they call the attendance there at city council, they always make sure everybody's in attendance for a quorum. She always answers with this loud "yes" or "here." And I asked her one time, I said, "Why do you speak so loud?" And she said, "I'm just glad to be here." And she was glad to, so not only is she glad to be there, but she's also glad to have served our country. And I'm very proud of her. You know, it's the story of medics in the field, families at home, NCOs leading troops, engineers building bridges, and cyber warriors fighting threats you'll never see. It's a story of courage, of commitment, of selfish service. And it's a story of sacrifice. We remember those who gave their lives in defense of freedom. We honor the Gold Star families whose pain we can never fully understand, but whose strength humbles us all. and we recommit as one nation to supporting those who serve. That is why my administration has worked to increase military pay, expand housing, child care, health care, and mental health services, support military spouses, and ensure dignity and safety in every workplace. Because if you serve this nation, we should serve you. To every soldier here today, you wear a uniform that's 250 years strong. You carry a legacy that stretches back to the birth of this country. You are part of the best trained, best led, most respected fighting force in the world. And it's something that the world has never known. So today, we don't just celebrate the past, we look to the future. Let's keep our Army strong. Let's care for our veterans. Let's stand by our military families. Let's give up the ideals. Let's live up, don't give them up. Let's live up to the ideals you defend. And I just want to close with this. Several years ago, and this is actually back in 1990. I was part of an event. It was called the National Victory Celebration. It was a parade in our nation's capital that honored our Desert Storm and Desert Shield veterans. I remember walking across the ellipse at Park next to the White House, and that's where the event was staged. And just thanking the men and women who served our nation that day, and just shaking their hands and saying, thank you for what you did for our country. Thank you for defending freedom. I remember having tears in my eyes that entire afternoon. Just, it was beyond belief. And I remember this at the conclusion of it. One of the greatest things I got to do at that time, and I still think it was the greatest thing, is there was this huge static display there on the National Mall, and I had a chance to ride in a Black Hawk helicopter with some of our Army aviators, and that was a thrill of my life then. And to fly back to Andrews Air Force Base where they were being staged, and flying in our hardware with our best people, that was really quite an honor. And so I come here today to wish the Army a very happy birthday. You guys and everyone who serves this country, I deeply respect. You know, I grew up in the time where I was kind of in that cross where I wasn't drafted, but I didn't have a chance to serve my military. But I have deep respect for the men and women who serve our country. I every time I run across a veteran, wherever it is, on the streets of my hometown or in the nation's capital, I always say thank you for what you've done. Thank you for serving and defending our country. So happy birthday, United States Army. 250 years of service, sacrifice, and strength. Here's to 250 more. May God bless the United States Army. May God bless Fort Chavez. And may God protect our troops now and always. Thank you all very much. Thank you.